work fall to pieces. And that can be many things. It can be my peony. My peony is falling to pieces right now. Maybe it doesn't hurt as much as if I were to have a kid, right? But it's still the same pain because it's your work and you lost it. My brother has video games he's worked on. It is in some way his kid, his child. Maybe he doesn't see it that way. I don't see it that way. But it is work. And it feels horrible when your work falls to pieces. So obviously parents, the now or never moment matters. Because if you want to grow up and see your kid's success, you better do it early. You better do it before you pass that moment. Once you reach that moment, better not make a kid. Because if you do, you're going to still work for it. Right? You still have the fun times. You get to see your kid grow up. Oh, you have all these lovely moments with your kid. Sure. But you're going to die before he gets to grow up. And who knows? What if you die before he is even financially stable? What if you die before he gets a job? What does he do then? Who's going to help him? Then he's going to die. So then your work fails, and you don't even get to see that your work fails. So, we talked about that.
Now and never.
Now or never moment in making a family. Of course, we've only discussed one side of the problem, and it's based on that Grab driver, 56 years old, and his kids are younger than us. Amazing. And he's probably going to die before his kids grow up to become successful. Hell, his kids might not even become a Grab driver, which is even worse. So, now or never moment is a big thing. The hard thing though, the harder thing to do here is to find out what is your now or never moment. How do you find out? Well, first of all, if you live in a developing country like Vietnam, obviously your now or never moment will be much earlier than you expect in a developed nation. Because in a developed nation, you don't die as early. Opportunities are easier to gain. Your kid can get a job early. You can get an easy job to feed your kid easily. So, you have to consider where you live. Your ability. How much you're willing to sacrifice. And also how stable you are. Because if you're stable and you bring in a new life, that makes you unstable. What does stable mean? Stable is not just emotional stable. It can be financial stability. You know, you have enough money to live. Financial stability, you have a house, you have food, you have electricity. Social stability, probably one of the easier things to take care of, but a lot of people don't have social stability. They have gangsters out on the street, knives trying to kill them. And that is not social stability. Obviously in developing nations, people have strict laws, they have police, and they have standards, so social stability is easier to obtain. There's a lot more to it than just money, than just emotional. It could also be, who knows about your health? Let's say you were born with a disease that's going to kill you early on in your life. A lot of people have genetic cancer. Cancer that is within the family. Probably one of the worst things to ever happen. Honestly, if I were to have cancer in the family, I would kill myself and not make any kids. Because I do not want to make a kid that's going to die early and not get much time to live and spend his life. So, some people have genetic cancer and unfortunately, they have a kid. They die early, the kid dies early, and it's a waste. It's a waste of their time, of their efforts, their money, but it is also a waste of human society resources. Now, of course, I may be too cold here, robotic here. You know, I talk about how they are wasteful to society. They're going to feel sad. But I'm just being practical. Because society is also another organization. It's another body of work that also has finance, has money. They have collective effort from every people. Where do you think your food comes from? Farmers. So you have a genetically diseased kid who has cancer. You're going to feed him. You're going to feed him. He's going to grow up. And maybe he gets a work. Sure. Maybe he works for society and he repays what is needed. But here's the thing. The amount of food that you give him to grow him will be more than he could ever pay back, because he's going to die before he could pay it back. That's why people say your parents give you more than you could give to them, not in a sense of money, but in a sense of everything, of effort, of time. They have to spend, they come home from work tired, but their work is not done because they have work at home. They have a kid to take care of. And the kid technically doesn't have to repay this, because the kid, you know, by law, let's talk about the law here. The person who chose to have a kid is the parents. But the kid is not the one who chose to have parents. So the kid doesn't have to take care of the parents. And because of this, the kid will never ever repay enough in equal amount to what the parents have given them. And of course, this doesn't always apply. Some parents are absolutely horrible. Some parents are, they love their kid, but they don't know how to teach. Like Jack's father, for example. Jack's father loves Jack, gives him a lot of stuff, but he doesn't know how to teach the kid. And that's just sad. But there are people much worse. People who beat their kid, you know, throw him out on the street, which is even much worse. Right? And so obviously, this doesn't always apply. But that's why they have the sentence, you know, that's what it means. Because a lot of the time, back in the day, back in, I don't know, medieval Vietnam, before we had modern day, the parents were a big deal. So they have that sentence which applies to most cases. But it doesn't apply to everyone now, because we have horrible parents, we have good parents, because people are not taught how to be parents. So we should have a class that teaches people how to be parents.